All right, welcome into the Lowdown Sports Show. This show is brought to you by the Basketball Podcast Network, presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Drew,
I'm BJ.
and we're here to get the lowdown on all things basketball. BJ, the last episode of season two is upon
Really?
us, but we have
Really?
no shortage of things to talk about. I
Yeah,
know
we sure
it
do.
came fast. 50 episodes,
I can't
dude?
believe it, man.
Man,
Feels like
seems
we
like
just
just
started this season like last week.
I know, time flying by. Time
It
flying by
really
on us,
did.
but like I said, no shortage of topics to talk about today. Still got a BJ's
hmm
best, what's on Drew's mind,
Yeah,
and some topics in the NBA and the WNBA to talk about, and of course, some with it or quit it. But like I said,
indeed.
last episode on the season. Shout out to everybody coming through in the chat on YouTube. Appreciate you guys coming through. Last episode of the season. Let's make it a good one. BJ, are you ready to go?
Pitter patter, let's get at her, Drew.
Let's get it. Let's go. All right, BJ. On the NBA side of things, this is going to be kind of a heavier note than
Yeah,
usual. But
yeah,
this one we're going to be talking about Mr. the Great Bill Russell. Bill
absolutely.
Russell passing this weekend at the age of 88, a basketball icon and one of the best to ever do it. Averaged 15 points a game and 22 and a half rebounds a game, along with 4 assists and 11 championships in 12 seasons, BJ. Nothing short of an icon on the court and a mogul off of it, but starting with his basketball ability, BJ, he's often in that top 10 discussion. Not necessarily put in the greatest of all conversation, but still a consistent top 10 when you're talking all timers. And he was for sure, and Wilt would attest to it if he was still here to this day as well, that he was one of the greats.
Well, and that's the question that, we go through generation after generation and we argue. I mean, this is the 75th anniversary season of the NBA that just concluded, of course. What is what do we look at as, what constitutes being the greatest of all time? Certainly, we made the argument and people have done this in the past that rings have definitely got a place in, the argument for who would be the greatest player to ever play. And if you go by rings solely, 11 titles in 12 years, that puts Bill Russell right up there. Now,
That's big time.
I'm not saying that I think of him as the greatest of all time, but he is no less than a top 10 player of all time. His contributions, this is even more so, Drew. I think you said 12 years. I see 13 seasons
13.
carrying the Celtics to the NBA Finals 12 times in those 13 years and winning it all but once. That's just insane. And of course, you remember the last two that they won. He was a player and he served as the first black coach in NBA history.
And wasn't that one loss to that guy that's on that logo of the NBA?
I think so. I think you're
I
right.
believe it was
Jerry
Mr.
West,
Jerry.
Mr. Jerry West.
If I'm getting my years right, I'd have to have
That was
his.
in the 60s, I think. So,
Yeah, I think so because Bill was always the one beating Jerry in the
yeah,
finals. Lakers versus Celtics. I believe that was Jerry's
yeah,
his crack through there beating Bill one time.
yeah.
But yeah, definitely an icon on the court, man. I mean, he was one of the greatest, and he's probably. Ah, man, you probably mark him down easily as the greatest Celtic of all time.
Yeah,
There are
yeah,
other Celtic greats, but I mean, this is the
yeah,
guy that comes to mind immediately all the time, and he just personified greatness. And he wasn't just a guy that played basketball and who was good at it. He was a basketball mind too. He
yeah,
liked to pour into the other players of the game, the Kobe Bryants, the Tim
yeah.
Duncans of the world. He even
LeBron,
even
Magic,
LeBron. He
Larry.
mentored a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as well.
Yeah,
Larry, Magic. You said Magic even saying that the NBA should retire Bill Russell's number 6 across the league now
yeah,
that he has passed to pay homage to Bill.
yeah.
What?
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
All I was going to say is, we talked about you talked about the legacy that he has and how much he continued to watch film, how much he was still a part of the game of basketball every year. It felt like, except for certain few exceptions, he was always there when the finals were over, giving away that Finals MVP trophy. You get to see that iconic shot of Dirk with Bill Russell, and just how much that he affected the game, how much he watched and knew, like he could see the greatness that was in certain players that because they were almost just like him. He talked about, I think you posted that clip of him talking with Kobe, and how he saw the same
Yep.
things in Kobe that he saw in himself, and what
Yep.
what was his motivation to excel on the court and off of it as well, and just you know we could spend more time than we've got left in this show
Yeah.
talking about how much Bill Russell affects the game, and how much he will be missed, because that's just the kind of impact he had. He was a phenomenal basketball player, and even more of a phenomenal guy on and off the court.
And unrelated, but I just noticed this nice shirt, by the way, Tom and Jerry.
Thank you.
And to Cam's
Here.
point there, not just that, he did off the court things as well. A lot. He was involved in Bill Russell. He marched with Dr. Martin Luther King. He
Yeah,
spoke out against segregation in
yeah.
Boston public schools and backed Muhammad Ali during all those times back then as well. So I mean, he was everywhere. I mean, he was a mogul, and he was an impact guy, not just on the court, but very much so off of it. And
Let's.
you call him a hero, man. I mean,
Yeah,
he was
he's.
big time, and he was, like you said, one of the first. He was the first black coach in the NBA.
Yeah, and you talked about just his contributions on the court. We talked about this at the start. Until Michael Jordan came around, I think everybody throughout the first 50 years of basketball had Bill Russell as the greatest player of all time. When you talk about what he did, 5-time MVP, 12-time All-Star, all but one of his seasons, Drew, he was an All-Star. Every season but one, he was in the NBA Finals. Had over 21,000 rebounds in his career. So that's averaging almost, it's like 22, 23 rebounds a game. He led the league in rebounding 4 times. He had games where he was getting 40, 50 rebounds even. He posted 12 straight seasons, Drew, with 1,000 or more rebounds. He also averaged over 15 points and 4 assists per game in his career. That's remarkable, especially for that era of basketball. Because if you go back and watch that footage, it's not like what JJ Redick said, where they were all farmers or you know
I was about to bring that
plumbers
up.
out there on the court or
And
whatever.
mailman.
Yeah, mailmen. They were some really good players. It was a different game, and he still you put him in the game today, Drew, and I think he would be just as successful. I mean, I think it'd be tougher for him to do what they
Oh,
would be. I Let me finish.
he's getting
I
11
think it would.
championships in the game
I
today.
I was just about to say I think it's going to be tough. It would be tougher in today's game to do what they were able to do
Oh yeah.
and in getting there. But I mean, if a player like LeBron can make it that many times in a row to the finals and still not get to the level that Bill Russell was at, that just shows you how tough the game is. I think Bill Russell would be up there with LeBron in terms of his abilities to make it to the finals in today's game if he were playing right now.
Okay, that's nice praise for Bill right there. I mean, that is, I mean, it's a
Absolutely.
tough feat no matter what area you're in. I mean, 11 championships in that
Yeah.
amount of time is just unprecedented. I mean, it's
It's
just
it's
more.
tied for the most by any athlete among the four major sports
Oh,
organizations.
oh yeah, and no one will ever achieve it either. No one will ever tie it. No one will ever eclipse it.
No.
That is one of those that will never be
Yeah.
surpassed.
Next
And
closest in NBA history is his teammate Sam Jones, and
yeah,
he's long retired. I think he might be dead too. Actually,
I do believe that he has passed before
yeah,
Bill already.
I
So,
think so.
but Bill made it to 88, yo. I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't think I'd get to see as much Bill Russell as I have.
I
To
know.
be honest, he's just looked, old for a while, but he's actually looked like the same degree of old for a good while, which is kind of, stellar. Shout
Yeah,
out, black don't crack, you know what I'm saying? But Bill
yeah,
out there just he's presenting, every year, that Finals MVP trophy, and I think except for the COVID year and this past season,
yeah,
uh, he's presented every time. So I
yeah,
mean, he's stood the test of time, made it 88 years of life, which is remarkable, and he won't be forgotten in this basketball world.
No, he will not be. And I found this interesting. This is from a New York Times article in 2011 about him. He said, I was an innovator. I started blocking shots, although I'd never seen shots blocked before that. The
Mm.
first time I did that in a game, my coach called timeout and said, quote, no good defensive player ever leaves his feet. Well, when you've got the size that Bill Russell had and you can get up as high as he could get up, I think the coach realized that it's probably best just to let him do that because they're not going to score on Bill Russell.
Right, Bill Russell, big time, dude. I'm still continuing to look at the the things about Bill here. Bill being, Bill quote Bill Russell was a pioneer as a player, as a champion, as the NBA's first black head coach, and as an activist. Jordan,
Yeah.
now the chairman of the Michael Jordan, chairman of the Charlotte Hornets, said in a statement, "He paved the way and set an example for every black player who came into the league after him, including me. The world has lost a legend. My condolences to his family, and may he rest in peace." And BJ, speaking of that activism, Bill Russell was awarded the Medal of Freedom by former President Obama back in
Yeah,
2011,
that's
the
right.
nation's highest civilian honor. And in 2017, the NBA awarded him with its Lifetime Achievement Award.
And I didn't realize this, Drew, that it's not been that long that the MVP trophy of the NBA Finals was not named after him. I thought it had been long before 2009 that it was named for that.
2009, that was
Yeah,
it?
that says
Really? What was it named
2009.
before?
I don't believe it had a name. I think it was just the
Really?
NBA Finals MVP award. It was not named for him until 2009. He never won it himself because it was not awarded until 1969 after he had retired. But he
Uh-huh.
had presented it many, many times. He didn't present it in 2020 because of the bubble, and then he also
Yeah,
didn't get to in 2021 or earlier this year. The last time he actually presented it was in 2019 to Kawhi
19.
Leonard.
Hmm, that's
Yeah,
crazy. Crazy to think about. Hmm, Bill Russell, man. An all timer, one of the greats for
absolutely.
sure of the game, BJ. And do you think that you think the NBA is going to retire his number six?
If they hadn't done it by now, Drew, I I don't think they're going to. I think there's an argument that they should, but I don't know if the NBA is really going to do that. We've seen that in other sports where they've retired, they've retired a certain number across every team, especially we talked about in baseball. I think Bill Russell is probably the one player that would deserve it more than any other NBA player just because of his contributions to the game, his success on the court, and just what he did off the court and what we've talked about here in this first part of the show, how much he meant to this world and the game of basketball itself. I feel like, would be the best argument for if they ever did retire a number league wide. More so than Jordan, more so than LeBron, Russell.
And BJ, his presence was not only felt in the basketball world, but other sports alike. Even football. And Bill Belichick
Hmm.
saying, "quote He's a big Patriots fan and gave us a lot of support. He was just a tremendous person to talk to. I've learned an awful lot from Bill Russell. Very fortunate to have had a relationship with him," said Bill Belichick. So spread out throughout the sports world. Anybody coming up playing sports, not just basketball. Most people know about Bill Russell. Definitely people who cover the game of basketball, and know how iconic he is. Because anytime you're talking goat or people are making top 10 lists, you're seeing Bill Russell's face.
Yeah.
You're seeing Bill Russell's face. And you talk about championships, you talk about Bill Russell. Talk about Bill Russell.
It
So
was not just limited to the Patriots, Drew. I don't know if you saw this, but on Sunday, I believe, after the news came out, Fenway Park, Red Sox honored Bill Russell. They had a moment of silence, and I thought that was just very touching.
yeah, it's awesome when teams do that. It's awesome when teams do that. I
Yeah,
believe the Rangers had a moment of silence for Ted Nichols Payne.
yeah, I think you're
So
right.
that's awesome right there. But yeah, rest in peace to the great Bill Russell. A great career, a great individual and activist, and he'll definitely be missed in the basketball world and sport community and just in life
Yeah.
in general. But now, time to take a quick pivot over to Mr. BJ's best, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Drew, I've got a couple things here. I think I'm
Okay,
gonna hold off on one thing because this is the 50th episode here in season two, and also our
that's
last episode.
right. That's
And
right.
so I had something in mind for this segment, and I'm going to come back to it here in just a moment. But I wanted to play this clip. I think we've talked about this before. I think this might be the worst take by either one of us in season two. I'm
Oh
just going to
man.
present it without context here, other than to say this is from episode 21.
BJ, mark my words right now, and I would just big screen it.
All right.
The Cleveland Cavaliers are going to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I'm gonna say it one more time. The Cleveland Cavaliers are going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Period.
Wow.
That's what it
Wow.
is.
And that will do it. The Atlanta Hawks are going back to playoffs. And they do it with an inspiring comeback.
Ah, man.
I had to give us something to laugh about because I'm about to
Oh
bring the
man.
mood down again, unfortunately. But
Yo, hey, it's all
uh,
because Jared Allen got hurt. Mark my
I
words.
I
That's the
know
problem.
I didn't say it wasn't, but I just think
Jeez.
looking back at some of our best moments from across season two, and I we'll try to get some more of this in
That
between
dude had a
seasons
nice
here.
beard, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I'm
No,
probably gonna let it grow
I
out
meant me
for
in that clip, not you.
yeah. Well,
Nah,
hey, this
it's
is this one's
way
nice
better than
too.
anything I've ever had. So
I'm probably gonna let it grow out for another week or so, and then I'm probably gonna trim it up again. Anyway, no,
that's
so
hilarious.
I'm probably gonna have some more clips here in between seasons when we before we get ready for season three. We're gonna try to
Oh,
get some
buddy.
more of our favorite episodes, or not episodes, but our favorite moments from season two back out
Uh,
there.
that's
We've talked about it, and just seeing it again, it brings it almost brings a tear to your eye. But anyway, so I tried to find my worst take. We didn't have video of it. We do have audio. We're gonna get that in the compilation at some point. But all right, so I'm gonna shift gears, and this is not necessarily BJ's best, but this since it's my segment, this is what
oh,
I
let
wanted to
me
talk
guess.
about. So last night, it's not just a loss for the baseball world, but
I
the
knew
sports
this
world
was.
as a whole. Yeah, I figured.
Yep.
So Vin Scully, longtime Los Angeles Dodgers announcer, passed away. He was 94. Like I said, I'm gonna bring the mood down again. Um, Drew, you and I are both, in the world of play-by-play broadcasting, and often this man is called the greatest to ever do it, regardless of sport, because it was not that he was just a baseball broadcaster. He did football, he did golf. I think he even had a couple of basketball games every now and again. I can't
Hey,
remember for sure, but I do know for sure NFL, MLB, and golf as well. Um, so he passed away. He was 94. He spent nearly 70 years as the play-by-play voice of the Brooklyn and then Los Angeles Dodgers. And so, for me, the way that how I see this is this was my icon. This is who I wanted to be. This is why I got into the field of sports broadcasting. I'm sure there are a lot of people that would say the same thing about Vin Scully. It was not just that he was a great announcer; he was a great person, just a great man. Everybody always talked about him as a gentleman, and you watch him on air, or you listen to him, whether it was on the radio or on TV, and he had a way of connecting baseball past to now. He retired only about 6 years ago, Drew, at the end of the 2016 season. But this is a guy that talked about you talk about piecing generations of baseball fans together. He was friends with and saw Jackie Robinson play. He got to see all those old Brooklyn Dodgers teams of old, Gil Hodges, Roy Campanella, Sandy Koufax, Kirk Gibson, all the Dodger greats, even up to Clayton Kershaw. This is a guy that was the voice for all those Dodger years, all those Dodger teams for nearly 70 years. And so I found this list of some of his most iconic calls. And I wonder, Drew, because you are not as big into baseball, we've kind of talked about that. You know the game and everything like that. But I wonder how many of these you're familiar with. So I'm going to start off with one that's not baseball. I'm sure you've heard in the NFL of the catch, right, Drew?
Yes.
You know, Vin Scully called that. That was Vin Scully on the call of that game. The Dwight Clark caught it in the back of the end zone to give the Niners the win to send them to the Super Bowl in the NFC Championship game in 1982 for the Cowboys.
Man,
You
for
know,
Cowboys pain, I didn't need that, BJ.
yes, I don't either. But you talk about an iconic NFL moment. There's certainly few that stand above that. So here's a list of some of the 10 most memorable baseball calls. I'm not going to play audio of Vin Scully, but you can find this list. This is from CBS Sports. Don Larson's perfect game, the only World Series perfect game in MLB history, was in 1956, and Don Larson of the New York Yankees threw it against the Brooklyn Dodgers. Vin Scully was on the call for that. That shows you, just going back 1956, he was calling games.
And he's old. Oh, sorry. Just kidding.
Yeah, he was 94.
My parents weren't even born.
Yeah. He also called Sandy Koufax's perfect game on September 9th, 1965. Scully actually got to call 3 perfect games in his career. He called the Larson perfect game in 1956, the Sandy Koufax perfect game, and then he called a perfect game in 1991 by Dennis Martinez.
Jeez, 35 years later, he called his first and his last.
Yeah. It's insane. It really is insane to think about. But not only that, I know this one will be one that you will like very much.
Oh.
So on April 8th, 1974, Hank Aaron broke the all-time MLB home run record with his 715th career home run.
Yeah.
And he did so against the Dodgers, and Vin Scully was on the air and calling the game for Dodger radio. And there is video of Vin Scully where he calls the home run and then he shuts up. He does not say anything for 2 or 3 minutes, Drew, just to hear the roar of the crowd, the excitement, the energy. And when he does come back, he's so eloquent. He just puts it into context of how much that moment meant in MLB history, not just for MLB history, but you think about this was the early 70s, Drew, and this was a black man breaking a white man's record in the Deep South. And that was not always something that would have been cheered about in Atlanta. And just to be so poignant to realize how much this meant in the scope of this nation's history, that is still a call that will give you goosebumps. So I got a few more. These are some World Series calls. He called the 1986 World Series and a classic Game 6 between the Mets and the Red Sox. And the way it ended, you watch baseball highlights and you hear little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it. And just something about it. And then he doesn't say anything and lets the crowd do the talking. That's the biggest thing, I think, when you talk about Vin Scully, is that he knew the right moment when he shouldn't be talking. So there's a couple more. He had the 1988 World Series, Kirk Gibson's iconic home run in Game 1 against the A's. He also had, I believe he actually had, he was doing radio of this at this time. That's a great point that Cam made as a Diamondbacks fan, that he would go out of his way to hear Vin Scully, and I would too. This was before, he retired in 2016, but every chance I got, I didn't have a way of watching out of market games, but every chance that MLB Network was showing a Dodger game that Vin Scully was calling, I was glued to the TV. I was watching and just listening and just enjoying the treasure that was Vin Scully. And So here's a couple others that he called. He actually called the winning World Series home run in 1993 from Joe Carter, and he also got to call Clayton Kershaw's no hitter in June of 2014. This was his last no hitter that he ever called. So you talk about 1956, he called a World Series perfect game. 2014, he gets to call another no hitter, and he called 18 of them in his career. And he retired on October the 2nd, 2016. It's just when you talk about how many moments in the game of baseball that he was here for.
I think you mentioned a couple of periods in there. One of the dates was 1956, and then you just said 2014. Good Lord, the
Yeah,
gap,
yeah,
and like just the
like
years of calling, games and
yeah,
just seeing so many things and so many
yeah.
iconic moments is crazy.
67 years.
67,
67.
man. Some people
Yeah.
don't make it 6, 7 years on this earth.
No.
That's crazy stuff, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's an icon for sure. He's
Yeah.
universally loved. Um, heck yeah, man. Great stuff. Great
Oh,
stuff.
hey, I didn't mean to bring the mood back down again, but
No,
I
no,
just
no. I mean,
I had to say something because I don't know what I'd be doing right now if it weren't for Vin Scully and a couple others that I don't know if I've talked about or if I will talk about in this platform. But one of the main influences in why I got into the broadcasting field. So
heck
I
yeah.
had to bring it up.
That's a good one, BJ. Good
Well,
BJ.
thank you. I appreciate that,
Very
and
much
that's
appreciate it.
it's a good way for the end of season 2. I mean, what else? How much better can you get than a man that inspired me to be a part of the show? Even.
Right. And if y'all don't know, BJ is good at what he does, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, hey, I
Check out
appreciate
some
that. I
things.
don't know how good I truly am. I'm certainly not Vince Scully level, but maybe one day,
Hey,
if
one
somebody says that about me, beyond when I go to the great beyond,
the
that'd
highest
be
honor.
yeah, that would be
Yeah.
an honor that I couldn't even comprehend.
Yeah, dude. Hey, it's gonna happen.
Oh, hey, I
And
appreciate that.
you know
Thank you
what
so
else is
much.
going to happen is all that action at DraftKings Sportsbook, BJ.
Yes,
People are betting
sir.
like crazy. WNBA championship, things like that coming around the corner. Baseball playoffs coming up, lots of things to bet on. MVPs and whatnot. Especially this summer, there's tons of ways to bet on all your favorite sports, all those sports I just mentioned, those awards that are right around the corner. You can fuel your fandom, feel the heat of the season like never before. Right now at DraftKings Sportsbook, they're giving new customers a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's right, you can make your first bet up to $1,000. If it doesn't win, you can get another chance to cash that in.
Absolutely, Drew. I mean, you said it right there. You were talking about all the action that's coming up. Don't forget, Drew, we have football. We have a football game this week. It is tomorrow night. If you're catching this on Friday, I'm sure you can catch the highlights of what you missed. But the NFL's Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio is tomorrow. If you want to bet on that for whatever reason, more power to you. But if that's not your style, don't worry. There's still some golf tournaments that you can get in on the action. There's some MMA fights. I think we had a UFC fight last week, and I don't know when the next one is coming up, but UFC. And of course, baseball, all that action. There's a big showdown in the NL East and the NL West this weekend that you can put some money on. Two first and second place teams battling it out in New York between the Mets and the Braves, and in LA between the Dodgers and the Padres. Those are going to be some great series, and DraftKings is going to give you the ability to bet on whatever you'd want with those same game parlays, spreads, money lines, over-unders, and prop bets. Those options feel endless. And best of all, Drew, DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. You can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you like.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN. Make your first deposit and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code TBPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right, Drew. I know I've asked this a couple times this year, and I plan to ask it a few more times as we keep going along. Obviously, we talk about prop bets and college bets. College football season's coming up here in a few weeks from now. But that's beside the point. Drew, what's on your mind for this episode of The Lowdown?
Well, for this episode in particular, BJ, I was gonna go with another national holiday that happens to be going on this Wednesday, but I did not.
Really?
Well, it's not a
Really?
national holiday, but
What
hey,
what national holiday is it?
hashtag National Watermelon Day is today, but I opted out from that because there's another hashtag that I might have to fall in line with, but after I finish, these other shows. But
Okay.
today, what's on Drew's mind is hashtag cancel Netflix, BJ. It's
Really?
been trending all day long, and the people are furious. The people are furious. There's been an uproar. Netflix knocking out multiple shows
Oh.
over the course, of time lately, and most recently canceling a show that people think deserved another chance for another
What
season.
they cancel this
They
time?
canceled First Kill.
I'm not familiar with
First
it.
Kill. A lot of people literally in an uproar. The craziest thing about this mentioned today, BJ, is when I saw this initially, it was a quoted tweet, and someone was saying that First Kill wasn't that good. So I was like, what's the real beef then if they're taking it off? It wasn't good. And then I go into it to the hashtag cancel Netflix, and everybody is like, no, it didn't deserve this. Neither did these other shows. It deserves another chance. People are mad at Netflix, saying they mistreat the mistreat the lesbian crowd,
Hmm.
and that they deserve better.
Oh, okay.
And that the first kill deserved another chance and another season. That it's a waste of everyone's time to keep making one season unfinished shows. Fans
Yeah.
are
I
furious.
I would
Uh,
agree with that. If you're going to only plan to do one season, just do a movie. I think that would probably be better.
Right, or just like stick with something or give it another chance, like
Yeah.
instead of just canceling after one season.
I
And
got
people are debating canceling their entire Netflix plan, which some people were thinking about anyway because the content on there wasn't too great. Aside from
yeah.
stuff that people have seen already,
Yeah.
so like the new stuff was not worth keeping, and the quality of the experience of video went down and the price went up. So
Yeah.
it was already questionable whether you should have it anyway. But now everybody's in an uproar to cancel it. Everybody's posting screenshots to cancel their membership immediately,
Hmm.
effective as that the renew date is supposed to be coming up. I see one on here that's supposed to be August 28th for somebody. They're canceling it,
Hmm.
and it's going to end in 15 days for them. So everybody's in an uproar, and it is that serious. So many
Wow.
people are upset that obviously this is not a first time thing. So people,
No.
and let me list some of the shows that have been canceled by
I've
Netflix. If I can
I've
bring
got a
it back
few
up.
at first that first come to my mind. I mean, the Netflix Marvel shows that they did were fantastic, and they were notoriously finicky about giving them more than like 2 or 3 seasons. And now I think Disney, now that they're on Disney Plus, there's probably, I mean, we already know that Marvel's bringing back Daredevil. They're probably
Mhm.
going to bring back more than just that. I think Netflix may ultimately made a mistake with that and letting it go back into the Disney umbrella. They're going to regret that severely, I
Mhm.
think.
And I personally haven't seen most of these new shows that people are talking about that have been canceled because I didn't have Netflix for a long period of time because of
Yeah,
the poor quality of stuff going on, and only got it back so I could catch up on some other shows. But some
yeah,
other
like
shows that have been
Better Call
canceled
Saul,
by
Breaking
yeah,
Bad kind of deal. Yeah.
exactly. Some other shows have been canceled by Netflix. Show called I Am Not Okay with This from the producers of Stranger Things and the director of The End of the Effing World.
I'm not
Uh,
familiar with that.
I'm not either. So I mean,
Okay.
these are just some that are on the
Okay.
list of things that have been canceled. One called Everything Sucks,
I think I've heard of it,
original
but I haven't
Netflix
watched
series.
it.
Teenage Bounty Hunters and Gypsy.
Hmm.
So these I'm
Okay.
unfamiliar with, but
Yeah.
obviously it is a big problem. I'm not sure how high on those other shows everybody is, but they like this one enough to be like, enough is enough. This one was actually good. We were waiting for another season, and you guys
Yeah.
have been doing this with multiple shows, so end it.
Yeah.
Just get rid of Netflix. They're
I
gonna keep doing this to everybody that gets into a new show that they add,
I
and
could I could support that. I mean, honestly,
yeah.
Drew, like we talked about, there's only a few things that can say I watch on Netflix. And it wasn't anything that they've notoriously canceled. I watched a few of their like originals that they did, back in the day, like the House of Cards and some of those other shows. I'm not a Stranger Things fan. I don't know if that's sacrilege to say. I think I've watched one episode and it wasn't for me. So, um, I don't necessarily, uh, I don't necessarily need it necessarily
And
because
here's
yeah,
another one here,
I
too.
did watch a few. I did watch a few episodes. I think I've watched like the first season or two of that show of 13 Reasons Why, and
Yeah.
it just got,
Boom.
gosh, not my favorite. It got to be so melodramatic. It just got on my damn nerves, and I don't I don't say that lightly, just because it's just there's no way that it's believable that the same high school would have all this tragedy going on. It just got to be so far-fetched for me. But anyway, so I'm not necessarily, I don't watch a lot of the original content like I used to on Netflix. So the biggest thing that if I'm going to watch anything, they used to have Friends back in the day, that's gone. They used to have The Office, that's not on there anymore. Basically the best things they have on there are stuff that you've already seen. You've got Seinfeld. You've got the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul series, both on there. They've got a few things that I'll watch every now and again, like some movies and everything like that. But I have not been really impressed with a lot of their original series in a long time, and so I could support that, especially with all the content that's over on Disney Plus. If there's an odd man out for streaming services right now, it feels like Netflix.
And Netflix has been that way, dude. And I'm telling
Yeah,
you, as soon as I'm done catching up on what I'm watching, I'm gonna be done with
yeah,
Netflix
yeah,
again.
yeah,
So I'm not gonna need it anymore. And if this one show and this disruption can get this trend and this uproar from people going and people constantly tweeting about it all day, then it's been on their minds for a while.
yeah. What do you
Um,
think about this? Peacock is the best right now, according to ICO 517.
well, I tell you what, people are probably saying that because it's the only place you can watch The Office, and people love The Office.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
get the first season for free, but I think you have to subscribe for the rest of it. But I haven't explored deep into Peacock. I only went to the Peacock app to watch The Office
Yeah,
for a
I
little bit.
finally upgraded mine, so I've got access to everything that is on there now without commercial. And so I'm gonna finally. I think I'm gonna start. I've been told by a lot of people that Yellowstone is worth a watch. So
My
that
mom
might
loves
be,
Yellowstone.
yeah, that might be something that I get to watch. 2.5 Men is on there. Everybody Loves Raymond. I know there's some other NBC shows that from back in the day that are on there as well. So could be interesting. I think, I mean, I put on like Hulu or something like that and just put on some mindless nonsense just to have some noise every now and again. But if I'm gonna watch something, I normally find myself going to Disney or HBO Max more so than anything, for at least for right now. I'm probably gonna give Peacock another chance though, and see what I want to start watching on there.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a chance too. I'll take a look at it and see what other things I got besides The Office. But The Office is good.
Hmm.
Office is good, so I can check that out on Peacock. But yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what was on my mind today. I noticed
So
that in that
cancel
uproar there.
Netflix.
Cancel Netflix.
Hmm.
Like I said, as soon as I'm done watching my shows, I'll be canceling my Netflix. So I'm right
Yeah.
there with them. I didn't tweet it, but I'm right here shouting it with you guys. Hashtag cancel Netflix. They
If
just
there's
gotta.
if my mom ever asks what we don't watch the most, I'm gonna say probably Netflix. So
My mom will probably get a subscription herself. I'll borrow hers, but I'm not paying
yeah,
for it myself
no, I get
anymore.
you.
Yeah,
I get you.
that's how that's gonna go down. But that
All right,
is
awesome.
what's on Drew's mind today.
Canceling Netflix. How about
Yeah,
that?
hashtag cancel Netflix, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Next up on tap, talking some WNBA. This is primarily a BJ swing, but I will have a take or two in here along the way. But looking at BJ's end of season awards, I'm holding mine off
Yeah,
because there's about 5-6 games left for everybody, and I'm making some official awards ballot picks,
yeah,
and I'm not there yet. So
yeah.
I gotta wait, and I'll drop that on the debut of season 3 for you guys in that
Sounds
episode.
like a
But
plan. Yeah,
BJ can do his today for you guys, and we got
I
some
will. I
some
will. I just want to
content.
say before we get this started, isn't it funny how last week I was like, "Yeah, I don't have the Wings making the playoffs," and then they go out and get two big time wins. They go and beat the Dream, they were close in beating the Mystics, they weren't actually, they were pretty close for a while, but the Mystics pulled away. And then all of a sudden they go and they're like, yeah, we'll go beat the Sky in Chicago and put ourselves in the 6th spot. So, you know, I if I need to criticize the Wings more for them to be successful and make a playoffs, I will. But what did I tell you, Drew, last week about the Liberty, who have creeped in? They're pretty close to knocking out the Sparks in this game that's going on live currently as of recording time. Still a lot of time left, and it's a 1-point game. New York Liberty was who I picked last week to get in as one of those final 3 spots, and I think they might. I think the way they've been playing as of late, they are playing really well. But I know you're more concerned about my picks.
We'll get into the rest of that stuff, though. We will dabble into a little bit of that because there are some concerns with the bottom of that pool there for those last few spots we got to discuss. But yes, those WNBA awards. Let's go from. Let's start on the administrative side of things.
Okay.
Executive of the Year. Who you got with that Executive of the Year award?
You know, this one still has not changed for me, Drew. I think we talked about it before the season. They've got the best record in the WNBA still. So, you know, I'm going with James Wade from the Chicago Sky being the Executive of the Year.
Book it.
I think that's pretty easy take there. You know, you can make an argument that, you know, we could have a repeat with the what's his face from Vegas. You've got to remind me.
Pat over. He's in Atlanta now, though.
Oh, that's right. Duh. I don't know why I said that, but
all good.
Yeah. So, but I think when you look at the talent level that Chicago's had and been at the top pretty much all season long in the W standings, you know, I think James Wade is probably going to win it, and I don't feel like that's a bad vote. I'm sure that's probably who you've got too. If I know you well enough, I think you're going with James Wade here too. But we'll find out in season 3.
That's right. I ain't telling you right now.
All right, Coach of the Year, Drew. This one also hasn't changed for me. I'm still going with year 1 of Becky Hammon out in Vegas, not too far behind Chicago. She's been my pick all year long. I've been impressed with what I've seen from the Aces, and I still think they are going to be the team to beat. I think that's not going to give too much away.
Okay,
not going to give too much away because we're going to do our playoff prediction.
You heard it here on the Lowdown. BJ said the Aces are the team to beat.
That means
WNBA.
I probably just jinxed them, but we'll talk more about that when we get to the WNBA playoff.
I should have made you big screen just in case they go out in the first round.
You're just trying to get some, you know, more clips that you can embarrass me in the season 3 finale with, I guess.
You're reading my mind, BJ.
All right, where do you want to go from here, Drew?
You said Executive of the Year, Coach of the Year. Let's go some 6th Player of the Year.
Okay, I think this one has changed, Drew. I've got Brianna Jones. I think when you look at what she has contributed to that team, it's a clear and easy pick for me.
It's a good call. There. Okay. How about some Most Improved Player?
Now, this one I don't think has changed since the midseason. When you look at what Jackie Young has done, I don't think there's anybody really close to being in contention for it this year. I think it's Jackie Young's to lose, but I don't think she's going to.
Ooh, okay. How about some Rookie of the Year?
Now, this one I know has changed, and it's because of how tough the schedule has been and the injuries that Atlanta's had. I don't have Ryan Howard anymore, Drew.
Oh, word? Oh,
I don't. Hold up. I don't.
Hold the phone. Say that again.
I don't have Ryan Howard.
Don't have Ryan for Rookie of the Year.
No. Shakira Austin is who I'm going with.
Oh!
When you talk about the defense that Shakira Austin plays and how well-rounded she has been and contributing to that Mystics team, I think she's the Rookie of the Year, Drew. And I don't care if this is put in big screen. I'm confident that if you look at the stats and you look at her defensive numbers, I think you'll agree that she should be not the defensive player of the year, but the Rookie of the Year. Almost flubbed that up because you put me in big screen. I got little nervous there, man. I don't like seeing my mug in 8K or whatever.
8K. Hey, kids, they call it 8K.
Oh man.
No, that's okay. Okay.
But hey,
Okay.
I think that's a good vote. I might be influencing Drew with some of the way he votes here.
Hey, man, this is some good stuff. This is some good content.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
see. All right, we've gone executive of the year, coach of the year, sixth player, most improved, rookie of the year. Now it's time for some defensive player of the year, Mr. BJ.
All right, I know this one hasn't changed since the midseason. Brandon Stewart, Stewie, still my pick for
Ooh,
defensive player of the year. I
okay.
think the only other player that you can make the argument for is Candace Parker, but I think it's just going to be. I don't know. I mean, I could very easily see it going either way, but I think you take into consideration how Seattle has been without Stewie on the court and how much better they've been with their defense when she's on the court. I think she's the defensive player of the year, Drew.
Okay. And I believe this is the last one. Hopefully, I'm not missing
Yes.
an award. I
Yeah.
swear, goodness, if I am. MVP, ladies and gentlemen. What you got, Mr. BJ?
All right. This one hasn't changed. This has been my pick since before the season, and she's kept playing at an MVP level. I don't know if she's going to win, but I've still got Asia Wilson. I mean,
Okay,
now,
recent player of the month in WNBA.
yeah. I mean, when you talk about how the MVP is usually voted on, it's usually the best player on the best team, and so that might there might be some arguments with that this year. Obviously, we've had Chicago take over the number one spot for greater part of the last few weeks, and and maybe even the last month they've been in first place. Drew, you might have to correct me, but the best team, in my opinion, this year, even before you know the past month, has been Vegas, and I've got Asia. I think she's been the most valuable player, whether you look at the best player on the best team or not. It's a very close race between her and Stewie, and I very easily could have gone Stewie MVP and Candace Parker Defensive Player of the Year, but I didn't. I'd like to take some credit for what I said before the season and at the midseason, so that if it does come to fruition, I actually look like a genius. So that's my vote. Maybe it shouldn't be, but that's my vote.
We'll let it count. We'll let it count. Well, that is your end of season awards for the
Yeah,
WNBA from Mr. BJ. BJ, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings here at the bottom a bit. You already mentioned the Dallas Wings, and I mean, even me, they're surprising me too. But
yeah.
what's more surprising than what Dallas has been able to kind of maintain and play a little bit better is the tremendous drop off lately from the Sparks and the Dream, both on 4-game losing streaks. And
Yeah.
Sparks and Liberty are in a close contest right now.
One
Dream look
point
like
game.
they're going to break that 4-game losing streak. It is a lot closer than earlier, though, a 10-point game with 6 minutes left currently. But
Yeah.
both teams trying to break a losing streak. A 5-game losing streak, you might as well kind of, write off your
Well,
season maybe at that
with
point
with
because
5 games left, yeah.
yeah, so and I don't know how many more it's going to take for Dallas to win to clinch, but the sixth spot is the next spot that's going to be clinching because all 5 up top have already clinched a playoff spot. It's just the
Yeah.
rest of this bunch down here fighting. But
Hmm.
BJ, you did mention also you think the Liberty are going to be able to do it as well. Do you think all your picks are going to hold for teams that are going to make it into the playoffs, or has it changed for you?
Well, considering last week I was basically crapping on the Wings and they finally got things figured out and turned it around with a couple wins. I mean, I don't want to be wrong and have hope that the Wings are going to do it. I want the Wings to do it for sure, but again, I mean, I think I had Atlanta and Phoenix and New York as as my 3 teams, and
Oh,
Dallas getting a big win at Atlanta certainly helped with keeping Atlanta out of it. A lot of teams, a lot of people, you and I included, didn't have Atlanta even really being this close this late in the season to a playoff spot. So if this is it for the Dream in year one of Ryan Howard, it shows you they've got a lot of room that they're going to continue to grow here in the next few years. I'm going to change it. I'm going to go Dallas
Oh,
6, New York 7, and I think I'm going to give Phoenix the 8 spot. I think we'll see it a little bit. They're separated by half game. LA and Atlanta are right there too. I think I have the most confidence out of any team in New York right now, just because of how much Sabrina's been balling out. And I don't know, something tells me Phoenix, Skylar Diggins-Smith, I think she balls her way into getting that last spot. So
man,
that's what
making
I'm
a
going to go
change
with.
here, BJ.
Yeah. But a lot can
Okay.
change in a week. I mean, we saw that just with the
Oh,
last two Wings games. So,
yeah, very true. And you mentioned Sabrina. I'm trying to let me go see if I can find that little stat that she had earlier. She set a record along with Candace Parker. There it is. Shout out ESPN. Sabrina joined Candace Parker. Candace Parker did this in 2016 as the only players with 500 points, 200 rebounds, and 150 assists in a season in WNBA history.
I mean, she
So
got 14-8-6 right now. Make it 15-8-6 in a tie game. I mean, that just shows you you know, she could be, with a little bit more minutes, she could be closing in on another triple double.
big time. And BJ, the Mercury are also on a losing streak, lost back to back, so they
Mm-hmm.
could be teetering. You did have them in the 8th spot, so they might
Yeah,
teeter a little bit, but
it's going to be
hold.
close.
Who knows? Yeah, it's going to be literally down to the wire.
I mean, even
With those.
Minnesota's only one game back of 7 right now. The
Yeah,
Lynx.
so yeah, Minnesota. Yeah, they could be the 7th seed. By the time this episode comes out. So who
They got to
knows?
play the Storm here, I think, in an hour or two, and
Oh
that'll be a
yeah,
tough game in Seattle. So, but
we'll
we'll
see.
see. Yeah.
We shall see. They're one of the better teams in this bottom pool of 7 to 11 that are on the road, 6-9 record on the road, tied with the Atlanta Dream. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so they could do it. Seattle only good at home, so or only a winning record at home, 12-4 at home, 7-8 on the road. So they probably will hold it down. To be honest, and Minnesota might take an L. But if Minnesota gets the win, that's huge for them. But yeah, that playoff race at the bottom
Yeah.
is going to come down to the last second, and it's just interesting. The Liberty really kind of in the same position they were last year, fighting for a bottom playoff spot, and just kind of think about the question of, was it a waste to fire Walt Hopkins because they're really about in the same place,
Yeah.
or do you kind of lean towards it was because Betnaj Laney was injured?
I
Uh,
think injuries really did hurt them last year more so
yeah,
than they let on with in firing Walt Hopkins. I mean, they've been playing well recently, but they weren't to start the year, and then Sabrina really got started balling again, and that's why they've been doing better. So I don't know if that would have been too much different, if Walt Hopkins was still their coach. We
yeah.
talked about that in the offseason, if that was surprising, and it definitely was.
And I did, and actually, BJ, when we went back and looked for that clip, we got the wrong one. There's another clip where you actually say that you believe Sandy is going to New
Oh yeah,
York,
I
and
had
it is.
that. That's on our Instagram. I thought you were, because what you told me to look for was what I found, and that was
It's the
different that we
wrong
were talking
one.
about.
My bad.
That's
It's
okay.
okay, but I
But hey,
found it.
we
It's
got
still
we
out
got
there.
both. We got both
Yeah,
on Instagram. So,
that's right. That's
and
right. We
speaking
do.
of clips, Drew, before we get to our
Uh
last
oh.
segment of the episode, I did have one more clip that I teased earlier in the episode. So, Drew, I wonder if you
Oh
remember
boy.
episode 23 by chance. Do you
Jeez,
remember?
23.
Yeah. So we were
I
talking
got
at
my
that
book open.
point about some playoff teams in the NBA and kind of, the shifting of gears. And we talked about, this was just before the New York City vaccine mandate was lifted that would allow
Okay,
Kyrie Irving
back
to
in
come back
February.
and play. So yeah, so this is just one that I found that I thought you might be interested in, talking about the Nets and who they might be able to pass in the race in the Eastern Conference before they head. Who would they pass if they were to get into the playoffs as opposed to the play-in
It's
tournament?
me.
BJ, I'm gonna say yes
Okay.
because, and I'm gonna go with the Boston Celtics because they have the 10th hardest schedule going into
Mhm.
this last stretch of the season, and then the Nets are gonna get healthier. So
Mhm.
Nets get healthier, Nets go back up into a top 6 position. that automatically puts the Celtics in the play-in tournament. I think that is something very, very realistic for them. And also, they're right neck and neck with Toronto, and Toronto's playing good ball. So, that could flip either way, whether the Nets jump or not. It could be a total shuffle. Nets and Celtics could flip. It could be, Nets 6, Raptors 7, Celtics 8. Or, maybe Hornets make a jump. They're not far behind either. So, but I think the Celtics will fall into the play-in tournament because of their degree of difficulty here in the back end of the schedule here.
So the Eastern Conference champions going to fall into the play-in tournament, the number 2 seed in the East. You want to talk about that one, buddy?
I just want to say that I've been bullied today. And he didn't pick anything bad that he said and decided to just slander me today. Okay, I'll remember this.
Look, I'm
gonna make a BJ compilation now, just so y'all know. Pause.
I wanted to pull the clip that I said I was going to the Final Four. I was going to embarrass myself too. I did not have that.
You got me twice
instead. We don't have video of that. We didn't do this for that one because that was an exclusive. I need the audio.
You didn't have any other mess ups, BJ. You're perfect.
I'm sure I had a lot of mess ups, but we've already embarrassed me a lot. I've got a full compilation that's like 7 minutes of me messing up NCAA conference tournament picks. So.
Dang it, dude. Yeah, you missed the whole bracket. Forget you. 16. Oh man.
I could have pulled a clip of me laughing at something funny you said during the Fry talk. We got that one circulating. Let me ask you before we go into With It or Quit It. What's been your favorite? What do you think has been the best or favorite thing about season 2? Drew?
Oh, best favorite thing about season 2?
Yeah. Just anything in particular stand out? Or
I would probably say the addition of the new segments. I think it's added a good new element to the show.
I think so too.
And it's been some interesting and educational things to talk about. Not only just not anything just funny
just
all the
sports
time.
Or whatever.
Something like today with heartwarming with the Vin Scully. Sometimes the goofiness with the National Whatever Day and the French fries, and then something that's really trending on social media and stuff.
It's got so many potentials. There's so many things that we could do.
Yes,
with
it can
those
be
segments.
like anything in those.
Yeah,
either one.
And it's like the mystery flavor of the day. You never know what you're going to get, but that's what makes it fun because it's a mystery until we get to it. So,
what about you?
I mean, I don't want to cop out and say like everything's been my favorite. No. No, I mean, it's just having that consistency of week in, week out, sometimes more than once a week. We've been coming in here and doing a show for many, many weeks now. When we talked about, we've been doing this with the exception of the week that I missed, I think every week since September, Drew. Maybe I'm off a little bit on that, but I feel like we started season 2 back up in September after a couple month layoff between season 1 and season 2 of 2021.
4 or 5.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So, just getting to be consistent. We talked last year. We talked, we didn't talk last year, but we talked about it earlier this week. Just we got to call a game against each other, and so kind of the little bit of trash talk that we got to do, in that episode, and just finding just random funny stuff. Like we'll be talking about something, and then you'll say something that it just gets me cracked up because like I found a clip where you were talking about James Harden being traded to the Sixers, and you said something like he wanted to send a text to break up with the Nets instead of doing a call or something. Just something stupid but funny, or like something just in the moment. The spontaneity, I think, has been my favorite part here in season 2. The consistency where we've been doing this week in, week out. You never know what we're gonna discover or something that we'll talk about, and just kind of spur of the moment conversation. Like, I mean, I didn't plan to ask you this during the show until just a couple moments ago. And I think we've had a fun time just reminiscing about our favorite moments of season 2. And we'll be sure to be clipping some more of our funniest moments or favorite things about season 2 here in the upcoming week.
And season 2 is when we joined.
Yeah, that's right. The Basketball Podcast
Network. Yeah.
So we got
So
brought onto a bigger network, and we're more than happy to be a part of that. And
oh yeah,
you know,
man.
we're just tickled that we get to do a DraftKings read every week. We're so excited. We got the Fanatics sponsorship now,
Shout out
and
to
even
Fanatics.
in season 3, we might have some more sponsors that we will get to talk about at a future date. I know that there was something in the works network wide that we'll be happy to share more about when the time is right. So be on the lookout for that because it's exciting things coming in season 3. We're gonna add some new stuff to the show.
Dude, I mean, we could honestly talk a lot about season 2, man. Like,
Yeah,
one thing that always sticks in my mind from season 2 is the one time that we had the all with it's on with it or quit it from me, and it's only
yeah.
happened the one time. The
It's
one
only
time we've
happened the
had
one time.
60 episodes,
If you
or like
find
I
that,
don't think.
that's a historic one. Until there's another one.
Ooh, BJ, do you remember which episode we
I
began with it or quit it?
I thought it was back in episode 1. I
I
think
don't
we
think
were
we, I
doing
don't
it in
think we
season 1.
started. I don't think we started with number one. I
We
think it was
definitely
like
started in
episode
season
three.
1. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
Was it Josh Eberly the first season? Is that the
Yeah,
first time we did it?
I believe so. I believe so because I know
I
the first one we had a bajillion guests,
yeah,
and there's just long episodes. We hadn't come up with it yet. I think we definitely missed at least one episode. I want to say two, but yeah, with it or quit it. 50 plus episodes though,
yeah.
55 plus with it or quit it, and only one was all with it,
I
and
mean,
zero all quit it.
yeah, that is very true.
That's crazy to think about too.
That's very crazy. Means like we got to step up in season 3 and give some just ridiculous takes that we have to say quit it to all of them,
And
so we
that's it.
can.
And that's including the guests too.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Speaking of with it or quit it, Drew, are you ready for 5 more? The last 5 of season 2.
The last five with the quit questions of season two. I am. I am. I am. I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready like
Well,
SpongeBob.
we might have to do 4. I don't know if I
Four.
got. I don't know. Well, we'll see what comes to me spontaneity, but I thought I had a 5th one written down, and I guess it didn't type or something. So
Oh,
I've got 4 here, but I will come up with a 5th one.
we'll get
Don't
there.
you worry. So, all right, Drew, are you ready?
I'm ready like SpongeBob.
All right. So, starting off with number 1. In just a couple weeks, Drew, we'll be back with season 3, but we'll also have to say goodbye to Better Call Saul. There are only 2 episodes left
Yeah.
in the show's run. Now, Drew, the question here is the ending of Better Call Saul will exceed that of the Breaking Bad ending. Are you with it or are you going to quit it?
I'm gonna be with it, even though I didn't see the most recent episode, unfortunately, yet. Um, because I mean, you've only got these last three to really nail it, and I mean, you've seen the recent one, and I think it's probably still on track with being pretty good, and they just got to hit it home two more times, and
Yeah.
I think they're gonna kill it, and the ratings are just gonna be through the roof. Everybody's gonna get Emmys, and yeah, I think it'll be better. I wasn't completely satisfied with the ending of Breaking Bad,
Mhm.
but like it wasn't bad either. But
Better than Game of Thrones, right?
yeah, I think Better Call Saul is gonna be a better ending. Yeah, with it.
All right, Drew. So we are off to a 1-for-1 start on
One.
With It or Quit It. Okay. Number 2. I don't know if you saw this news earlier today, but Paige Beckers, the star UConn women's
Oh yeah,
basketball player, tore her ACL on
definitely saw
Monday
that.
after practice. So,
Playing pickup.
yeah, in the off season, you never know what's going to happen. Just those freak injuries. But so the question is, without Paige Beckers, she's going to be out for the whole season. Drew, you saw what the UConn women's team was without her last year. Not only do they not win on a national level, the question is, do they even win the Big East without Paige Beckers? I'm saying in this take that you have to agree or disagree with that they won't with it or quit it.
I think I'm gonna quit it.
Oh, okay.
I think they've got enough talent to probably still win that out there.
All right.
Um,
The
Fudd
Big
is
East
still out
was
there, right?
competitive. What's that?
AZ Fudd is still out there, I
I
believe.
think so. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think they've got a chance. Got a chance. So
Yeah. And I
I'm
mean,
with
you know, the
it.
Big East has always, you know, not quite been on UConn's level, but they have taken some losses. It's not like when UConn was in the American where they never lost a conference game for like
Right.
6 or 7 years that they
Yeah.
were there. So it'll be interesting. I thought we might get acquitted on that one.
I thought you were
So
gonna say the national championship. I was ready to be like,
oh
nah, they ain't winning
no,
that. Nah. Okay.
no,
Okay.
no. All right, all right, all right. Number 3. So you talked about it. Watermelon, for whatever reason, today's National Watermelon Day.
Yes.
I saw that and I thought about asking about that, and I said, no, I'm not going to. So, Drew, you like fruit salad, right?
No.
You don't like fruit salad?
No.
You like a cup of fruit or whatever that
I mean, not
you
really.
could get. Not really. You're not a big fruit guy.
I mean, like I'll dabble in some fruits, but I won't get like a couple of fruits. So I'll eat some. I'm down with the apple. Pineapples, things like that. But like I won't sit there and eat a cup of fruit. Really, no, I'm not really
Okay.
that guy.
Well, I'm glad you said pineapple because
Mm.
I said pineapple, the best fruit in a fruit salad. With it or quit it.
I'm just gonna go with yes because it's
You
with
like pineapple?
pineapples are good. With it,
Yeah,
boom. But
just
no, I've
as
never. I
simple
don't
as
even
that.
think I've ever had like what a true fruit salad. Yeah. So
Just some oranges, apples, pineapple.
yeah,
I think you've got some people mixing watermelon. I don't think I would, but
I'm not a
peaches,
watermelon.
some pears maybe.
Not really a watermelon guy, truly. Watermelon flavoring, yes, but like the
Okay,
watermelon fruit itself, not
I
really.
don't mind watermelon. So anyway, all right.
Oh
And
no,
I don't know
Campbell.
about
Oh
that.
no no no
I
no no
don't
no no
think
no
so.
no
No,
no
no, no, no,
no.
no.
No, you gotta
We're
relax.
not slandering. That's slander, man.
We don't put that beautiful fruit on pizza.
Seems like a waste of the pizza and the fruit if you put the two of
That's
them
stuff that'll
together.
get you banned, Cam.
All right, Drew, number 4. So today is Tom Brady's 45th birthday. I don't know if you knew that,
Hey,
Drew.
we're both Leos.
All right, Leo gang. We'll be
He's got way
celebrating
more
Drew's
championships than
birthday when we get to season 3 in here.
me. Yeah.
So anyway, the question is, Drew, there's been a lot of talk of unfinished business for Tom Brady. Why he came back in, as
Unfinished
opposed
business.
to, yeah, he was going to retire supposedly, even though he said many times he wanted to play until he was 45 or whatever. Now he's 45 and he's, set to play this year. My question is, Drew, age 45, Tom Brady, he will not win his 8th Super Bowl ring this year. Does he retire again without a Super Bowl? With it or quit it?
With it.
With it.
Definitely. He's not gonna win it. And yeah, he's going to retire again, and he's going to give us the 10th episode and some more of Man in the Arena because I was waiting on that, and then he hadn't retired. I was mad.
Well, I think they were still planning on doing that even if he hadn't retired. I think he wanted
No,
more
yeah, they are
time.
going to do it. It's just going to be until after he retires again.
Oh,
Comes
okay.
out.
So he's going to reevaluate everything again.
Yeah,
or
it's
whatever.
waiting.
Okay.
And I imagine it's going to be extended, and that won't be the last episode now because he's got way more Buck stuff to talk about. Especially
Yeah.
if he wins a championship, like it's probably
Well,
gonna
he
be
did.
like,
He did a couple years ago, but unless he wins it again,
no, yeah, I
that-
meant again.
yeah, because they would have to do an 11th because that would be his 11th appearance, wouldn't it?
They'd probably extend it to like 12 episodes, to be honest.
12, 13 maybe.
Plenty of content to do it with.
Plenty of content. They need content on ESPN Plus. They can't rely on all those Southland Conference basketball games. Anyway, all right, Drew. Number 5.
Number 5.
So you like Taco Bell, right?
Yo quiero!
Yo
Yeah,
quiero.
I do.
All right, so I'm gonna say that Taco Bell's burritos are better than their tacos. With it or quit it?
Oh, man, that's... As far as consistent... Oh, man, you gotta... Golly. Let me think back to my commerce days where I was at a good Taco Bell.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's tough. I mean, even the
I
one here
don't
is
know.
not
They
necessarily
made pretty pretty primo tacos, pretty consistently good tacos, not like soggy at the bottom, split apart when you open it up to put your hot sauce in. Nice and fresh, good lettuce, fresh lettuce. I mean, it was pretty
I think
A1.
that's more the I think
Man,
that's more the exception, not the rule for though.
I don't know, man. That's tough.
Especially
At
since
a,
they
at a
got in that
good
new
Taco
building, it was good.
Bell, man. Jesus, can I plead the fifth? No. Let
That would be
me
a first for with it or quit it history, is not
let me
answering a question.
let me go. Jeez, let me just go burritos, man. I guess. No, no. That's so disrespectful because I love Taco Bell so much. I have to pick the place that has taco with the name in it, or like it's not really as good as I say it is. If I'd say no, so I'm gonna go with the tacos.
So
So
you're gonna
I
say quit
can
it.
back my boys at Taco Bell. Quit it. Quit it.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, that was a spur of the moment one, and that might have been the best question I
Yeah,
asked here out of the
that's good.
four
Yeah, it's
or the
tough because I
five.
love Taco Bell. So you had me going there like, what's better? Shoot. And the
All
correct
right,
answer
Drew.
we all know is burritos.
That's the last with it or quit it here in season 2.
Man, that's crazy. And
How about Cam's order there? He never gets a taco or burrito. He gets a chalupa and a ball blast.
I like that element right there. Bah, blast. Um, I'm not a chalupa guy. I'm not really a fan of those things, to be honest. I'm goodness, what's it called? Cheesy gordita crunch. That's
That's
where
some
we're at.
good stuff, man.
That's where it's
That's some
at,
good stuff.
baby. It's where
I
it's
have not
at.
had Taco Bell in so long. I don't know. I told you last week. I don't think I said it on the pod. After we got done talking about chicken fingers, I went and got me Dairy Queen chicken fingers
Yeah,
last
you
week.
showed me the
I
picture.
sent
Yeah,
you. I sent you that, but
heck
I
yeah.
didn't say it on here. So I don't know. I'm hoping that history does not repeat itself, and I'm gonna go and get me Taco Bell because I've been trying to so good on this diet. Been drinking so much water and everything, trying to be healthy, trying to be good. So
There you
don't
go.
don't make me go down the wrong path again.
I always got to dabble in a little bit of an addiction of Taco Bell every
Oh
now and then. I've
man.
already had it this week, so yeah. I mean, that's actually it for season 2,
Before
guys.
we go, want to talk about what's coming up in season 3, or should we be on the lookout for
Well,
something else?
I think we should. I think the people should be on the lookout for a trailer, including some of the info coming with season 3. But y'all already know some of it. BJ's best, and what's on Drew's mind will be a permanent installment. Going through in
Every
season
week.
3 every week, and we're gonna have a new overlay coming for next year. We'll do some of that. The lowdown live from the Taco Bell after the Carl's Jr. run with the Culver's ice cream.
There you go.
I love when he does
Keep
that. That's
keep keep
funny, dude.
it back, keeping it back from last week's episode. Yes, sir.
Keep being Cam.
Keep being
But
Cam,
nah,
man.
we do need to try Culver's and Carl's Jr. though. I thought about going to see if it was over there today, but if it wasn't, and I was so far out of town, if it wasn't there and I had to go somewhere else, I would have barely had any time for
Come
lunch. I was
come
like,
come swing through here next time you're going to a Wings game. We'll go and get some. Go get a bite.
come on,
Here we
I'll
go.
do that.
That's a plan,
And
man.
heck yeah, sounds good. Ladies and gentlemen, though, like I said, this is the end of season 2 and the end of this episode. Do make sure you follow us on social media, on that Twitter, on that Instagram, on that YouTube, on that TikTok, and follow us on Twitch. Guys, make sure you check out all those platforms. Give us a follow. We got some interesting content coming new to TikTok, but getting
Yeah.
our feet wet there. We're definitely active on our other platforms as well. Got some clips coming in the meantime between now and season 3 and continuing on, of course. And you know, our Instagram rolling and Twitter rolling
Yes,
still. And don't forget
sir.
about that merch. T Public always rolling through with sales all the time, up to 35% off. Get you one of those pillows that BJ is showing off right there. Get you some t-shirts, some coffee mugs,
Got the
whatever
shirt
you
over
want to
there.
try. Got a variety over there at T Public. So you can branch out and get a lot of different things. Low down tank tops, hoodies. Summer is coming up. Or summer's coming up. Winter is coming up
Winner.
eventually in the midst of season
Fall.
3. So go ahead and winter and fall. You know what I mean, BJ. You're going to need hoodies and crew necks. So get them with the lowdown printed on your chest, the icon up in this corner. Put that right there. Boom, you got a lowdown t-shirt right there. Go ahead and get yourself hooked up. And as well, Fanatics having sales all the time, shipping 65% off, on some items throughout the store. We just posted the other day about, for our wrestling fans, Roman Reigns won against Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. So you guys can go get that champion or that victory Roman Reigns T-shirt merch on Fanatics. We got the link for you over on our Twitter page. Make sure you go
NFL
click that.
jerseys coming up, seasons coming up. Get you
Yes.
new
Get your
players and new destinations, some new
yes.
jerseys.
Get your Dallas Cowboys merch, your big Dak Prescott fans. If you like some CD Lamb, get that as well. MLB Rangers, Cap Martin Perez. You can get his jersey if you
Yeah.
want to,
All right.
and get some Stars merch. Don't forget about those guys out there as well. Plenty of
For
things when you
whatever team
shop.
you want.
Right, when you shop with Fanatics and that WNBA merch as well,
Absolutely. Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. But yes, make sure you guys follow us on all that. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow on all those other social platforms as well. We're out there staying connected with you guys. But will very much enjoy our little bit of time off that we have, and hopefully we'll come back with some super cool news to share with you guys as well. If you follow us on social media, you might see it ahead of time. So be on the lookout for some cool news as well. And yeah, a lot of cool things coming in season 3. It's gonna be really awesome. It's gonna be our best season yet.
Yes,
Gonna really
sir.
take off. And just as a reminder for those out there, if you have not before, make sure we would appreciate it greatly if you could rate and review the podcast on your platforms. I know only Spotify and Apple have the ratings, and Apple only has the reviews, I believe. So if you are an Apple and Spotify user, which the majority of people are, please drop that rating and review, and you can definitely be featured on our Instagram at some point as well once you do that. But we appreciate that. We want to help ourselves get noticed on the platforms for podcasts in the sports category and basketball. So that's how you do it. Those added ratings and those reviews from you guys help us out a ton. As well as the
Absolutely.
general support. We like to see y'all on that merch and stuff.
Absolutely.
But yeah. Anything else, Mr. BJ, to close out for season 2? Any parting words?
Hey, just live life to the fullest and be on the lookout because it won't be too much longer before season 3 comes back with a bang. To do my best Mike Breen impression.
Yes, sir. A lot of things in store, but we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Shout out to everybody that came in the chat. And we will see you guys in season 3. Enjoy some of the throwback episodes in the meantime while we're away for a week before we come back. Plenty of good content from back then and some other season 2 stuff you missed. And if you're not a subscriber, you'll want to do that and check out those bonus episodes. Phenomenal guests. But in the
Absolutely.
meantime, signing off for season 2, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time.
Peace.